Thank goodness we have our medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Hey, Doc, to clear up some of that confusion. So, Dr. Kohli, I want you to weigh in on this news. There's another COVID-19 buzzword floating around, and health experts call it a twindemic. Because of it, they are pushing harder for flu shots this year out of fear of a severe flu season on top of the pandemic. So, doctor, what is a twindemic, and what should we know about the flu and flu shots this year?
This is a very important concept, Sam, and it's exactly what you just said, which is really the confluence of two infectious disease outbreaks occurring at the same time, in this case, COVID-19 and the flu season. Now, we know the flu season normally starts in fall and winter, peaks in December and January. So this year, every single one of us should get our flu shot next month in September or October at the latest. And I have a really nifty mnemonic that I worked hard to create as to 3 good reasons why you should get your flu shot. So you guys ready for it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 3 S's. So the first S is selfish. So there's some selfish reasons to get your flu shot this year, and that's mainly because you don't want to end up in a hospital with flu-like symptoms this fall or winter, because you're going to end up on a COVID ward. Oof. And secondly, you don't want to get both COVID and the flu together, because that could be really, really disastrous and very likely to result in a fatal complication. So the second S is selfless. So the first one was selfish. The second one is selfless. You want to get your flu shot this year, again, to try to protect others in the community, because the last thing you want to do is to overwhelm the hospital system by having a whole bunch of flu admissions when they really should be dealing with the COVID pandemic. And then the final S, the third one, is scientific reason to get your flu shot. And the reason is because even if you get your flu shot, it actually revs up your immune system and boosts it against other viruses. So we see this with the BCG vaccine, where you get the BCG vaccine for TB, but it helps you fight other respiratory viruses.
Great.
The 3 S's. I love it.
Check.
I love it. All right, Doc, what does it mean when we hear that the virus is mutating? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
So unfortunately, Jeff, this is a bad thing. What it basically means is that the virus is getting smart. So as we learn how to fight the virus as the host, the virus learns how to fight back and starts to have genetic changes that make it more virulent. And there's a paper out on the internet that's not yet peer reviewed that suggests that this virus has already mutated, with the spike protein, the part that is used to get into cells, becoming more stable and 10 times more infectious. And they think this was the strain that was circulating in New York City and in Italy.
Oh, man, I'm getting more and more hopeless. I really am. And I know that I shouldn't be Dr. Kohli. In fact, do scientists have any idea if the virus will ever actually go away? Do viruses like this one get completely eradicated?
You know, Sam, I don't want you to lose hope, but I have to say that eradicating a virus completely is pretty challenging. And the only virus that we've pulled it off on so far is the smallpox virus, because 3 things have to happen to eradicate the virus. First, you have to have an effective vaccine that's widely distributed, like we did with smallpox. The second is you have to be able to recognize and quickly contain outbreaks. That's what's a little tricky with this virus, because everybody presents differently. And then the final is you have to get rid of the animal reservoir, the host. And again, with this virus, we're seeing it can now be in cats and other animals as well, so that may be challenging.
Doc, we're out of time, but I did have something to add about the mutation. Does that mean if we do come up with a vaccine that we have to come up with 2 different vaccines because it's mutating into something else? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's a great question, Jeff. It depends on what part of the virus mutates, because we're developing our vaccines against the spike protein. So yes, if the spike protein mutates, and that's what we've developed our vaccines against, and there's no cross-reactivity, we may have to come up with multiple vaccines, just like with the flu. We have, different strains of the vaccines, of the antigens in the vaccine.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep, very. We appreciate you, Dr. Kohli. You'll be back tomorrow, so if you, DBL Nation, have a question about coronavirus that you want answered by Dr. Kohli, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com.